So it's that time of year again, and so Avant Garde is having their 30% off promotion on my channel for the autumn months, and I've got a great collection of fragrances here to recommend. And in the bonus section, there are even fragrances from brands that are 40% off. So find out about the fragrances coming right up. Thanks so much for tuning in. It's Sebastian. So Avant Garde has a promotion right now. It's 30% off most everything in the store. Most, not all. Mind Games is not included. I have a separate discount code for Mind Games, which takes 10% off. But with the majority of the brands on the website, it's Sebastian30. And I'm recommending several fragrances here, mostly niche, some designers as well, at the end of the video. And then after the outro, I do have some fragrances from brands that are 40% off. You can use the Sebastian40 code. So normally it's Sebastian10. You can take 10% off the store any time of the year. But 4 times a year, they do the 30% off promotion. Let's get started with the video. Or I should say, let's get started with the fragrances. Going to the house of Plume Impression, it's Onda d'Oro, this one right here. So this one recently was featured in one of my Scent Club kits, and it's a really nice take on a vintage style leather. For me, it's a bit vintage style. What do you guys think if you've tried this one and you got the Scent Club kit? It's leather, amber, Cistus, Labdanum, vanilla, musk, and patchouli. It is definitely hinting on some vintage leathers for me, which I like. Mostly like Royal English leather from Creed and things like that. Maybe even Knise 10. But this is Plume Impression's take on a really gorgeous, classically inspired leather fragrance, Onda d'Oro. Then we're going to the house of GLEAM. It's Espresso Please. You know, I'm really enjoying the fragrance, but the more I've worn it, and I've mentioned it in another video, and I've actually got a video on the whole house coming up soon as well, discussing the promotion here as well. I instantly love the very start of the fragrance. There's a section of the fragrance that becomes a bit boring and then it gets really great again. But one of the best starts on any fragrance I have ever put my nose on, it's coffee, hazelnuts, and dark chocolate, along with tonka beans and musk. That's what the fragrance is all about. The fragrances of GLEAM are created by Griti, the man behind Griti, who creates the Griti fragrances. And again, it's a really delicious take on coffee, chocolate, or dark chocolate and hazelnuts. An amazing start, really amazing start. There's just one part of the fragrance, I think it's the heart notes, that gets a bit boring, and then it settles to a resinous take on the espresso idea. But a really delicious, kind of like a mocha experience here. So it's GLEAM's Espresso Please. Then we're going to the house of Maison du Roc. It's Bois Sacre, this one right here. It's a new house that I've discovered, and they've got 2 fragrances that I really enjoy. I actually have a video on this house coming up very soon as well. And Bois Sacre is my second favorite from the house, and I feel like it's perfect for autumn, the way the fragrance wears. My favorite is Ylang d'Or, which is a really gorgeous tropical take on Ylang Ylang. Wonderful offering. And I'm impressed with the quality and the longevity of the fragrances. This one's an Orris focused fragrance, and it's also leather. So we've got a few leather fragrances here. It also features notes of Bran, hazelnuts, cardamom, sandalwood, tonka, oud, and patchouli. I guess it might hint a little bit, or the idea might be even more familiar to something like Dior Homme Parfum, but it's a totally different fragrance. The leather is very noticeable. The Bran and the nutty notes are really out there as well, to create a bit of a gourmand edge with the Orris and cardamom against the leather. But the fragrance eventually settles to oud, patchouli, and sandalwood, so it does get a bit smooth and creamy. But a really great take on the Bois, but it's more Orris, so Bois Sacre, Sacred Wood, that's what the name is. But I'm impressed with the quality of the house, especially loving 2 that are really great. Still, Ylang d'Or is my favorite from the house, one of the best Ylang Ylang fragrances I've put my nose on, but this is definitely great as well, and a perfect autumn fragrance. So this is Maison du Roc's Bois Sacre. Let me know if you're familiar with that one. The next fragrance I'm talking about is Eternal Journeys, Sunset to Midnight. This one right here, this in the end is a very resinous take on incense fragrance, and really nicely done. It's an incense fragrance that's kind of addicting and you want to keep wearing it. It's not just dark and smoky and kind of a cold that you want to stay away from. There's warmth here, and there's some light fruity touches as well. It's Labdanum, Myrrh, woodsy notes, incense, Ambroxan. There's Nagarmotha, candy note, musk, apples, rum, iris. Such a great incense fragrance. In fact, for me, my favorite of the bunch of the trio of fragrances that first launched is Sunset to Midnight. Sunset to Midnight is the best for me. Then followed by the the blue one, which is the more fresh experience. But this, to me, if you're an incense lover and you want some sweetness, some fruitiness, a bit booziness thrown in, but also still resinous and also smoky and things like that, definitely ambery too, definitely try Sunset to Midnight from the House of Eternal Journey. So up next, going to recommend a really great layering combo here. You can get these individually or get the two and experience something really delicious. I'm talking about a brand called New Notes, and it's Caramelo Vanilla with Musk Complexity. If you layer these two fragrances, you get a Musk Ravageur, Frederic Malle kind of experience, but in a more concentrated way. Separately, one's all about a caramelly, milky vanilla, and the other one's a musky kind of a molecular fragrance. But the two together, oh my god, it's so good. And it's almost like subconsciously I figured out these two create Musk Ravageur. It's almost like wearing them and then thinking, oh, when you layer that one, that, because there's some almost like there's overlapping notes, and under it, it kind of reminds you that you could do this kind of a layering duo. But when you do, you really do get the Musk Ravageur style, and it's so amazing. But again, separately, Caramelo Vanilla, it's more of a milky caramelly vanilla, and of course, Musk Complexity is a kind of a musk molecular fragrance, but both of them are really great. And again, the two together, explosive combo of Musk Ravageur. But maybe you want to do some patchouli in the autumn months, and BOIS 1920's Real Patchouli is definitely one of the best patchouli fragrances out there. So good, really great. It's like almost like Psychedelic from the House of Javoy, or even Reminiscence Patchouli. It's up there, one of the best patchouli fragrances for sure. I discovered, although I knew about this, I had smelled it at Barney's when the brand was sold at Barney's. I never bought a bottle, but a few years ago I bought a bottle, and it's definitely one of those styles of patchouli fragrances. But this is patchouli, amber, tobacco, vanilla, sandalwood, thyme, musk, and cedar. So it's a bit resinous and amber for sure. There's a slight vanillic touches in there, but there's a kind of a creamy dry down with the sandalwood, and there's musk in the base as well. Really wonderful offering. But if you're into the idea of patchouli, the earthy kind of sparkling, effervescent, super sexy patchouli, is definitely try Real Patchouli from the House of BOIS 1920. Up next, going to the House of Floris, and I've recommended this one quite a bit. It's one of my favorite Floris fragrances, and I think it's perfect for autumn. It's Honey Oud. I love the combination of the sweet, powdery, slightly musky honey note against the oud. It's not an animalic fragrance, but some people associate this strange muskiness with honey. I love this one. It's gooey, it's powdery, it's sticky, it's sweet, but also nicely balanced with the oud. There's rose here as well, patchouli, also drying down to an amber, musk, vanilla kind of a combo. Really wonderfully done. You do notice the rose in here as well, and I feel like it's a given, that oud-rose combo, but it's more about the honey and oud, but there's rose that comes in as well, and along with patchouli. Nicely done. Really great for autumn. It's Honey Oud from the House of Floris. Let me know if you're familiar with that one. The next fragrance, going to the House of Maison Cyr. It's Ambre Magique, or Ambre Magique. So this is Alberto Morillas' brand, although his daughter manages it, I guess. And it's an amber with rose, but it's a combination of resins and also molecular ambers together, which Alberto Morillas does love to do that with this. It's a really long-lasting fragrance, and some of you have asked me if this is similar to the amber from Dior Privé. It's not, but maybe the idea might be similar. But it's rose, cachalox, vanilla, dreamwood, helvetolide, cardamom, orange blossom. Really long-lasting, resinous, but also molecular take on amber. So you not only have molecular ambery notes, but also resinous ambery notes combined together to give you this kind of a powerhouse experience with the house, from the House of Maison Cyr. But Ambre Magique, rosy amber, check it out. It's from the House of Maison Cyr, as I said. The next fragrance, going to the House of Micallef. It's Note Vanille. Somebody had to correct me, or I think a few people corrected me on this one. I never knew that it was vanille. It's vanille, but it is vanille. Okay, this is a really, really wonderful vanilla fragrance. Really delicious, boozy kind of cooking vanilla type of a situation. So it's got vanilla, rum, cognac, amber, mandarin orange citruses, sandalwood, and jasmine. Just perfectly cozy. If you need that kind of a vanillic coziness in the autumn months, this is the kind of fragrance we would wear. It's definitely boozy, but there's a slight milky undertone as well. getting it from the Sandalwood, obviously. But super, super amazing. One of the most delicious. In fact, for the longest time, I was looking for this when I first started reviewing fragrances, probably around 2014, 2015. Hunting down a bottle was very difficult. I'm glad they brought it back. I'm not 100% sure if it's identical to the one that was discontinued, but definitely I think it's a really delicious vanilla. So it's Note Vanille from the house of M. Micallef. And then a few designer offerings as well that are 30% off with the Sebastian 30 code. Brioni's EDP Intense. So it's an oudi green apple take on the original ozonic fragrance. You still get the kind of watery effect here with the green apples. It's juicy, it's drippy against the oud, it's perfect. There's also Ambroxan here, saffron, patchouli, vanilla, bergamot, tangerine, and pink pepper. So spicy, earthy, a little leathery, and you've got the kind of slight sweetness with the vanilla as well. But for me, it's all about the oud and green apple. Just a very juicy experience. You have some amber touches in here as well with the Ambroxan to give it some strength and a backbone for it to linger on longer. But I think this is great. I think the entire collection is really solid. One of the best men's collection of fragrances, I think. So Brioni EDP Intense. And then finally, I always recommend this one from Toomey. It's my favorite. It's Continuum. I think this is a perfect autumn and winter fragrance. And I love the whole tobacco-ish, boozy, and also fizzy combo of notes together. It wears so wonderfully. Warm and spicy, tobacco leaves, suede, musk, amber, incense, orris, cistus, oud, green mandarin, boozy, boozy, boozy. But also like Coca-Cola fizzy. Do you guys get that with this one? I get Coca-Cola fizzy with this one, but I love it. It's a great designer men's fragrance, one of the best from this house. I think it's definitely my favorite. I haven't seen something as good as this from this house, so I'm hoping they will launch something really, really great after this. But for now, check out Continuum if you haven't on that discount code. Anyway, those are the fragrances I have for you today in this video for the 30% off weekend over at So Avant Garde for autumn. Let me know your thoughts on these fragrances. Again, most everything is 30% off, not everything. And definitely Mind Games is not on the 30% off. The code for that is Sebastian10. You can take 10% off. But let me know your thoughts on these fragrances and let me know if you have ended up buying anything from So Avant Garde. Put a comment down below and don't forget to stick around for the 40% off promotion. Other than that, guys, thanks so much for watching today. If you have any questions or comments, please list below. Please like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook. And I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye. So apparently Nishane and the House of Tiziana Terenzi, also Quinto Canto, are all 40% off with the code Sebastian40. And I'm going to recommend Fan Your Flames. Are you familiar with Fan Your Flames? To me, this is Nishane's take on something that is in the same ballpark of Jazz Club, I think. This is more adventurous, a bit more tobacco-ish, but there's the coconut in here, which gives you that kind of creamy, smooth, ambery effect. But it's got coconut, tobacco, rum, cedar, tonka, oak moss. For some strange reason, I also get coffee here, like a very earthy, ground coffee experience in the fragrance. So I feel like we're smelling coffee along with the booziness and the coconutty touches and the tobacco all together. Maybe it's my nose playing tricks on me, but I don't know if you guys get that or not. But Fan Your Flames, definitely check that out if you haven't already, got your nose on it. Again, these fragrances are 40% off, the Nishane and the Tiziana Terenzi, and of course the Quinto Canto fragrances. But this next one is a very powdery rose and patchouli fragrance from the house of Nishane. Once again, it's Nanche. This is a Cecile Zarokian creation. It's uber powdery, so lots of rose here, powdery notes, flowers, jasmine, patchouli, musk, sandalwood, ylang ylang, carrot seeds. Creamy base for sure. It acts a bit like a chypre for me. I think it's the combo of the rose and the patchouli, but it's almost like you're just throwing powder in the air, mixing it with patchouli and rose, and you've just got this very airy, dry, kind of a patchouli rose combo. Again, it eventually dries down to a creaminess, but it's so powdery up top. I think the patchouli and the rose balance this fragrance out. Maybe additional floral notes, because they do say that there's other flowers as well. The flowers in here are a bit nondescript, but for sure you have a nice creamy sandalwoody base to kind of like, fall on with this fragrance. So Nanche is one that's on the super sale there. And then we've got a couple of Terenzi fragrances here. This is Ecstasy. Definitely one of my favorites from this house. It's a pine rose combo with incense, maybe sort of a little bit hinting at something like Van Cleef & Arpels Pour Homme, a long lost fragrance, which you can still buy, by the way. But this is incense, spruce, pine, rose, patchouli, amber, soil tincture, woodsy notes, labdanum. It does have a bit of an old school vibe, but I really love that about it. This also leans masculine, even though it has the rose in it. But a great fragrance. This is definitely an underrated one from the house of Terenzi. It's Ecstasy. Let me know if you're familiar with it. And last but not least, a beastly take on a citrus. This is Tuttle from the house of Terenzi. Grapefruit, cassis, peach, cedarwood, red patchouli, birchwood, sandalwood, vetiver, magnolia, amber, tuberose. It's a zingy grapefruit, but also creamified with magnolia. The magnolia adds this kind of like nice, smooth, creamy layer. Some fruits come in, but eventually it gets very ambery, a bit smoky, and of course earthy when they dry down. It's extremely intense, so long-lasting. Definitely even a lot more long-lasting than Ecstasy. Even I feel like Ecstasy is very wearable, even though it is potent. But here with Tuttle, it's extremely intense, so long-lasting. And when you spritz this stuff on your skin, you'll notice how sticky and strong it is. It's an X-rated parfum. Both of them are. But again, Tuttle for me is uber intense. Ecstasy is intense, but nicely done, where you don't have to like worry about overspraying. But with this one, it's strong. But it's a very, very strong freshie, and definitely one to recommend. Tuttle from the house of Terenzi. Again, that's the additional 40% off happening right now over at Avant Garde. Just highlighting an additional sale for you guys. Anyway, thanks so much for watching today, and stay tuned for more videos soon. Bye-bye.